Hi, everybody. I'm Daniel Gilbert, and I want to take a little time this afternoon and give you a little bit of cool rhythm guitar things I call triad nuggets. So what I have for you is basically three figures, and they all work over G minor 7. So let me just get right into it. They use inversions and substitutions to play over a G minor 7 chord. So here's figure 1. Let me just do it with the metronome for you first. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me do that for you again. 3, 4. So let me talk about that for a second. What we have going on here, it's kind of cool, is sliding up with a triad. So we have a 3-note triad, sliding up on the 4-3-2 strings, and then hammering on to a B-flat major triad with kind of an unusual fingering of 4-3-2. So pick, slide, hammer on that triad, and then it jumps up to a D minor triad, but on a higher string set on D minor. And then down on the top 3 strings, C and B flat. And then hammering on from an F triad to a B flat triad. So it's cool in that way. You get 3-note, 3 strings sliding up, hammering onto a triad, changing string sets, coming down, and then a hammer on again. And we're only using a couple of triads. We're using B flat, C, here's B flat again, D minor, C and B flat again, and B flat and F and B flat. So you get a lot of motion out of just a couple of triad shapes using inversions and changing string sets. So check it out one more time. I love that kind of stuff. I call it triad nuggets, little moves. And later on, we'll talk about how you can use those and kind of break them up and not maybe use the entire lick, just use a piece of it. Let's take a look at figure 2. I'll play that just with the metronome for you. This one really jumps string sets also, so check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me do that again for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, the same thing, inversions and jumping string sets. Here's with the backup band a little bit. So notice here with the right hand, I'm really articulating 2 different sets of 3 strings. So that's a little tricky. So 3 strings and then 3 strings, and then inversions. F, F. And you might notice that's kind of an unusual fingering for the F triad there. I'm doing it 1, 2, 1. And then a lot of people don't finger that triad like that, but I do sometimes. B flat, D, and G with the 3, 2nd, and 4th fingers there. And then F, and then on the same set of strings down to F, and then G minor. So real slow. And with the machine again. 2, 3, 4. There you go. And again, getting a lot of motion out of just a couple of triads by changing string sets and jumping inversions. Pretty cool. I like that stuff. I hope you do too. Let's take a look down to figure 3. I'm going to play that with the metronome first. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll do that again. 2, 3, 4. This one is a little bit trickier than you may think, because you're attacking and you're hammering on full chords or at least 3-note triads. So a little bit tricky. Up there, kind of high up as well. And you notice I'm using 3 fingers there for that G minor triad. And again, fingered a little bit unusual so I can get some strength snapping down on that. And then here's this good old triad that I'm sure everybody knows, 1-3-5 inversion. But we're hitting it. And the timing of that is kind of tricky also. Downstroke and kind of sliding back and forth gives it that really cool sound. Here it is again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now with the machine. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and there's those 3 moves. So just 3 little licks. But, you know, I got to admit that I was doing kind of a little trick on you, a little Howard Roberts trick from a long time ago. And that was when you're trying to learn a really tricky rhythm that was written in 16th notes, just write it out in 8th notes and learn it that way, and then just speed it up. So really, these figures, they kind of sound a lot better played as 16th note sort of funk things. So check this out. I'm going to change the feel on my machine a little bit here. Give you a little bit of old school funk. And you can see how these work in that context as 16th notes now. Check it out. Yeah. So really, like, if you're going to use these things, that's pretty busy. Probably a better way to use them would be to intersperse them at the end of a bar or the end of a musical phrase. So check it out. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to play little pieces of some of the licks. Maybe you've seen them enough now to kind of recognize them. I'm going to do a full chord kind of down low on the guitar, and then I'll jump to some of these and use pieces of them as little fills. Check it out. So I probably really use those more like that and not go too crazy and get really busy, sort of in between phrases and at the end of bigger, chunkier pieces of rhythm guitar, maybe fuller things. So that's how I would use that. Now, like I said, these 3 figures all go over G minor 7, but you want to be inventive and maybe try some other harmonies. I don't want to get into a big like harmony and theory discussion, but I'll tell you one thing. A lot of these things sound really good on a C dominant 7 chord. Check this out for a second. Got a C7 chord there on the machine, and I'm going to play these licks, exact same ones. So they work over C7 too. Now, if you're going to take little pieces of these, you're also going to find a lot of other chords that these things work over. Okay? Any questions? Got it. So play around with that. And again, feel free to use little small pieces of these things, not necessarily the whole thing as written. And you'll find a cool way to use it. And why don't you call me and tell me about it? See you soon.